One of the problems we face as people with autism is we tend to lack confidence, particularly when we are around strong people like narcissists or egotists. How do we deal with that? Well, sometimes we can deal with it by just using a simple word or a simple phrase. I've got 7 things. We're going to go through these fairly quickly. So you're going to want to listen very close. And by the way, if you're not a subscriber, you might want to take a moment and do that. Click the button in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. Click the bell so you get notifications. And don't forget to leave a comment and give us a thumbs up. But what are some of these words that exude confidence and sometimes help temper the overconfidence or the arrogance of a person that we're in the presence of? Number 1 is say these 2 words. You're wrong. Or 3 words. You are wrong. When do you use these words? Well, you use these words when the other person is wrong. Now, I use them sparingly because everybody makes mistakes, and you may want to phrase this as a question. In fact, all of these phrases, words and phrases, you may want to think of a way to frame them as questions. The reason is, we've talked about this before, the reason you frame phrases as questions is because we just naturally think when someone asks us a question. It's just part of us. We have to ponder the question. So a way to get inside a person's head, particularly somebody who is abusive, is to ask them a question so they have to stop and think. And by making them think, you are, at least for that moment, in control. So you may say something like, don't you think you're wrong on that? And be careful, because sometimes you can phrase it in such a way that's too soft, and so they will see you as somebody who's too soft. So you may just want to say it as a statement. You're just wrong if the person is actually wrong. Or do you agree with me that you're wrong on that? Frame it as a question somehow. And again, I want to emphasize, the only time you do this is when the person is actually wrong. Because if the person is right and you say they're wrong, it has the opposite effect. Makes you look like a fool, makes the abuser a little bit stronger because he was right and you were wrong, and he or she knows it. Number 2, second phrase is, again, this is a question, but say, well, what if? If the person has a plan, the abuser has a plan. He wants to go somewhere, he wants to watch this TV show or this thing on Netflix, which I've never seen Netflix. I don't care to. But maybe it's something on Netflix. Maybe it's, go to this restaurant for dinner or whatever you're doing. Go see this movie. Offer an alternate plan. Say, well, what if we go see this movie? Or what if we have this for dinner? Or what if we do this instead? Now, the person, the abuser, chances are they're not going to consider your what if, but what you're doing is you're standing up to the person. Now, if it's not an abuser, somebody who's not narcissistic, there's a good opportunity. They'll say something to the effect that, okay, yeah, let's do that. Let's do what you want. And this is one way to tell whether or not this person is abusive. It's not the only way to tell, and it's not conclusive, but it gives you a pretty good idea. Speaking of ideas, if the other person, the abuser, has an idea, challenge their idea, challenge their religious view, challenge their political view, whatever it is. Maybe you can do it softly, but typically I find it depends on how strong the person is coming across, but the more abusive they are, the stronger I want to ask the question or make the statement, what if? What if we do it this way? Number 3 is, the number 3 is none of your business. That's the way to say it, but I don't like that phrase because to me it's a little bit too strong. Sometimes it will elicit too strong of a reaction, not always. So I asked ChatGPT, what is an alternate way to say none of your business? And I got back 3 responses. And it said, say that's private. So the abuser is trying to get information out of you. Where do you live? What do you do for a living? Those are kind of not serious questions, but what is your social security number? How many kids do you have? What's your kid's name? Where do they go to school? Where did you go to school? Some of these things are really not private. So you might say, I'd rather not discuss that. Thank you, ChatGPT, for that. Or you might say, it's kind of personal information. Or you might say something, I just made this up, but you might say, I'll tell you later. Right now, it's kind of early to get into that if it's a new relationship. But anyhow, these are all iterations of the phrase, none of your business. So I'm curious, have you ever used any of these phrases? If you have and they've worked, let me know. If you've tried them and they haven't worked, let me know. Or if you have some other phrases, let me know, and let everybody know in the comment section. One of my favorite questions, actually it's one word, it's the word why. Why? Why do you ask? Why do you want to do that? Why did you say that? What's your point? There's all kinds of ways to ask why, but what you're doing, again, is because you're framing it as a question, you're poking their conscience, you're getting inside their head. And at the same time, you're telling them that they are not necessarily in control. And this is kind of passive. You're not saying that you are in control, but you are saying that your opinion is as good as their opinion. Therefore, you have the right to ask why. There are some people that I would never ask why. For example, if I were a private in the military and the drill sergeant said do push-ups, I would probably not ask why. Okay, so if you don't ask why, then what you are doing, this is just my idea, you can agree with me or not, but it's just my thought, that you are positioning yourself as a private and you are posturing the abuser as the drill sergeant. You got to ask them, you got to challenge them, otherwise you develop that relationship that will probably develop into a severe abusive relationship. And you don't want that to happen. You don't want to be the private. You don't want the abuser to be the drill sergeant. So let them know, you're not the drill sergeant. I do have an opinion. And a lot of times, if they're very abusive, they can pour it on rather very heavy. Number 5, ask them this. Are you an abuser? Or ask them, are you a narcissist? Are you being a jerk? Just ask them flat out. See what their response is. And again, you're getting inside their head. If they respond in any way, they may say, no, I think you are, or whatever they say. The fact that they respond by any means, hopefully they don't punch you, but if they respond any way, it simply means you touched a nerve. You got inside their head. That means you are in control. And at least for the moment, they are not. The 6th word I like to use, and use a lot for abusers, is the word no. Just that simple, no. The abuser may ask to borrow money, and the response is no. Or you could frame it as a question, why do you need money for? Why can't you borrow from someone else? Well, can I borrow money from you? These are all iterations of saying no, but usually just the word no, not going to do it. Now, I go back and think about all the narcissists that I have dealt with in my past, and my bank account would be several $1,000s larger if I had just applied number 6, no, when they asked to borrow money. The narcissists that I have dealt with are infamous for not paying their bills, not meeting their obligations, because they are entitled to everything. They're entitled to your money. They're entitled to control your life. They're entitled to control your thoughts. So say no. They want a favor, want you to do a favor. And again, this is if the person is an abuser. They want a favor, you say no. Now, a lot of times a narcissist will love bomb you. At the beginning of a relationship, love bond you. And you're not going to mind doing them favors because this is your friend and you are reciprocating their friendship by doing them a favor. That is an innocent mistake. But as soon as you find out this person is abusive, they want to get you into a trauma bond, where they're nice, then mean, then nice, then mean, and pull you in, then kick you out, then pull you in, that's when you start saying no to favors. One narcissist friend, put that in quotes I had, abuser, he's always asking for rides, wanted me to take him places. Yeah, sure, why not? We can hang out together because this is my friend. And of course, I supplied the gasoline. The reason he needed a ride, it turns out, is he didn't have a driver's license. He didn't say that. But then eventually, when it came up, he admitted, he didn't have a driver's license because he made up some stupid excuse. And I found out later that apparently he didn't show up in court, and the judge took away his driver's license. Rules are for someone else. Anyhow, say no. Number 7, I love this response. And, there's just a blank here. There's nothing to say. So say nothing at all. Just don't say anything. The narcissist asks you a question, don't say anything. The abuser asks you a question, don't say anything. The abuser asks you for a favor, just don't respond, like they're not even there. Now, a lot of times I don't respond to people, not because I'm being rude or because I'm trying to control them. A lot of times it's because I can't hear them. People mumble all the time. A lot of times my wife will talk to me and I kind of think she's talking, I'm not really sure. And I may ask her what she says, or I may not respond at all. I'm not being a jerk. I just, I'm not even sure she said anything. If it sounds like a question, then I'll respond to her because, I'll say what. But sometimes you just don't say anything. Let's tie all these together. Now, one thing I learned early in marketing, that there are words that are considered power words. For example, the word power is a power word. You see it a lot. If you are buying software, they say this is powerful software. Even if it's not powerful, it's just normal software. They always use that word because it's a power word. Another power word is the word family. You'll notice that when people want to sell you on something, give you the warm and fuzzy feeling, they will evoke the word family in their sales pitch somehow, some way. These are power words, and so you can use some of these things as power words, not necessarily to abuse the abuser, but just to stand your ground and to prevent the bullying. Stop the bullying with just one-upping him or her with your intellect, with your cognitive skills. So short phrases, they empower you, they disempower the abuser. You might want to try them and see how they work. I don't like to give advice. I just like to share ideas. If you want to take it as advice, that's your option. But, take it with a grain of salt. There's a circle in the lower right-hand corner, a big dot. If you click on that orange, not orange, but the green or blue circle, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, be part of our Here's the Power Word family. And there's a rectangle, lower left-hand corner. If you want to keep watching, we have bukus of videos we've made in the past. So click on the rectangle and keep on listening. We'll see you all next time.